private sectors, including international clients. As we all are aware that in today's scenario, compliances have become expensive and non-compliance has become very, very expensive. And to deliberate on the topic of deposits, loans to directors and investments under Companies Act, we have CA Arunji, who would like to take us through these provisions. Sir, we welcome you and we look forward to a wonderful and interactive session.
Thank you so much, Nitika ji. I am very thankful for the Patel Nagar Study Circle for inviting me on the deliberation on deposit, loans and advances. And I welcome all the viewers also. This is a good source nowadays to have the learning or relearning through the webinars, and it's very convenient also to everyone. Sir. So thank you all. Before starting and sharing my PPT, I must say one thing. This is the time you must be engaged in finalization of the balance sheet, and each and every balance sheet average, we come across certain entries which are covered under the section 73, 185, 186 of Companies Act, which is related to the deposits, loan to the directors and investments. I will just go back to the regime of 1956 Act before 2013 Act come into the existence. We have experienced that a lot of people were not aware of, they were very careless about the treatment of the receipts in the company, and particularly transactions between the directors and their relatives were made like a current account. Whenever money was received, required, it was received. Whenever it was in excess of the requirement, it was paid to the directors without following the procedure and the law. Now law is very, very strict and it's very clear law. Certain deposits are to be taken as a deposit. There are exemptions given. Certain receipts cannot be considered as a deposit under Rule 2A C of the deposit rules. I will discuss this also. And then I will see what kind of the deposit and how deposit can be obtained or invited from the public. I will briefly cover that. Then I will cover little bit provisions for the compliances. Then provisions related to the loan to the directors, section 185. What are the loans can be given to the directors and the relatives, and to the firms in which directors are interested, and what are the exemptions, particularly new amendment which came for the exemption to the private limited companies. I will discuss in detail that also. And then the investments advances under section 186. This is all I would like to deliver on the provisions. So let me have 2 minutes to share my PPT. So viewers, I will first take the deposits. Let us see the definition of the deposit. It is given under section 2, subsection 31 of the Companies Act, and it is also covered under Rule 21C of the company's deposits, acceptance of deposit rule 2014. See, as per the definition, any receipt of the money by way of deposit, loan, or any other form will be a deposit, will be considered a deposit. But every loan is not a deposit. This is also written in the Act. I will discuss what kind of the loan cannot be taken as a deposit. So this is the definition only. This is the slide I am showing from where company can take the deposit. Number one, eligible companies. Number two, non-eligible private public companies. Number three, private limited companies. So who are the eligible companies? Eligible companies are public company having net worth of at least 100 crores or turnover of at least 500 crores. So one thing is very clear, the company, public company which does not have the net worth of 100 crores or turnover of 500 crores cannot accept or invite a public deposits. So eligible company can invite the public deposit, and then two kind of the company left. One is non-eligible public companies and then the private limited company. So deposit from these non-eligible public company and private company covered under section 73. So I will discuss both the form of the deposits. So there are certain conditions. If I invite the deposit from either from members or from public, so these are some conditions which are given under section 73, subsection 2. First of all, if I want to invite a deposit, I have to issue a circular in the form of DPT-1, that is called circular, and this circular will be issued to all the members of the company. This circular should contain lot of information which includes particularly financial position of the company, then credit rating. Credit rating is required to take from the credit agencies. Number three information which circular should contain is number of depositors and amount outstanding from the deposits on related to the previous deposits. Means suppose suppose to invite a deposit today. So then as on today, I have to give what are the total number of depositors in my books of account and how much amount is outstanding as on books date of this issue of this circular. Then this circular should be filed with the registrar of companies at least 30 days before the issue of the circular. So I have to file these ROC with the ROC, this circular DPT-1 within at least before 30 days of the issue. Third condition is the company has to deposit in a separate bank account that is called deposit repayment reserve account. It should be in separate bank account and at least 20%, not less than 20% of the amount of the maturity during the financial year or financial year next following. So 20% of that amount has to be deposited in that deposit repayment reserve account, and this account should not be utilized for any other person other than repayment of the deposit. This is the very important condition. Then one certificate is to be given in circular that company has now defaulted any repayment of the deposit previously and interest thereon. In case of the default was there and there was a default was made good by the company, then at least 5 years should lapse after the default making good. It means, suppose company has make a default in 2010, yeah, 2015. So, and default has been made good by the company in 2017. So, company cannot make a fresh deposit before 2022, because 5 years gap is required between the default make good and the issue of the circular, right? Then if deposit are secured deposit, then how company is going to provide the security and create the charge on it? Then there has to be given one declaration that the deposit shall be repaid in term of the deposit agreement, which will be entered between the company and the depositor. But there is a provision, if company wants to make some to obtain some extension for repayment of the deposit, then it can apply to the NCLT for extension of time after making an application and making a plan, repayment plan to the NCLT, and NCLT will may grant the extension of the time on case-to-case basis on the if the reason for non-making the payment is justified. So these are the conditions. Now I will come to this deposit from the members. There are certain amendment made. So I am talking about since beginning, what are the changes were made in the provisions, that is the quantity of the deposit, how much deposit can be taken by the company from its members. One is prior to June 2016. Then there was a amendment from June 15. Then it was amended on 28th of June 16. Then 12th of June 17. So this slide shows three things before this June 16, then before the 28th of June 16, then before 12th of June 17. So prior to June 16, all the companies can take the deposits from its members subject to compliance of section 73 subsection 2 conditions, which we have discussed earlier. This was the position of the prior June 16. Then position changed from June 15 to 28th of June 16. In this circular, what has happened? They have given the two kind of the categorization of the company. One is private companies. Number two is the other than private companies. So private companies can take the deposit up to 100% of its paid up capital and free reserves without following these conditions which we discussed, 72 subsection 2. And other than private companies, it will come non-eligible public limited companies. In that case, the up to 25% of the capital, securities, premium and free reserve. And then they have to comply the provision with the 73 conditions. So for private limited companies, without complying the provision of the 73 subsection 2, for other than private limited companies, they have to comply the provision of the 73 subsection 2. But in private limited company, they can invite deposit 100% of their capital and free reserves, whereas other than private limited companies, only 25%. But in case of eligible companies, they can take the deposit maximum of 10% of their capital and reserves, security premiums. Then this position changed to changed on 29th of June 2019. 12th of June 2017. In that case, categorization was the same. For private limited company, position was the same. But in case of a other than private company, the percentage of the maximum deposit from 25% is increased to 35%. Other than all conditions were same. So till June 2017, position was 100% of capital or free reserves, security premium without complying the 73 subsection 2. And for other than companies, private limited companies, 35% of paid up capital and reserves. But they have to provide the comply the provisions. Then position changed from 13th June to 18th of September. Here they have categorized differently. They have categorized number one, the private limited company without having default in filing AOC 4 and MGT 7, means annual return and balance sheet. One category is private limited company having complied with the provision of AOC 4 and MGT 7. Other companies, including private companies, which have defaulted the AOC 4 and MGT 7. So for private limited company, first category, they again did two categorization. One is the startup companies, second is other than startup companies. So startup companies, for startup companies, they say for 5 years, startup companies can have the deposits from the member without any limit and without complying the provisions of 73 subsection 2, right? And then other than startup companies, again there are two categorization. One is if three conditions are met. I will tell the what three conditions will be, and then other companies where three conditions are not met. Three conditions are, number one is in private limited company, there should not be a body corporate as a shareholder. Means their shareholding pattern should not have any body corporate as a shareholder. Number two condition is the borrowing of that private company should not be more than twice of the paid up capital or 50 crores, whichever is less. It means up till 50 crores, this company can have the deposits. In that companies, if all the three conditions are met, then I am covered in first category of the company where three conditions met, and I can have the deposit of any amount without complying the provision of 73. Then other companies where any one of the three conditions are not met, then the 100% of the paid up capital of the free reserves, I can have the deposit. So if three conditions are met without any limit, if conditions are not met, 100% of the capital and the reserves. Other than company, next categories, other than companies which have not complied with the AOC 4 and MGT 7 and the eligible public limited company, in case of the same limit is taken, 35% of paid up capital and security premium with complying of the conditions. But in case of this eligible companies, 10% is as it is taken. Then there was again a change in 19 September 2017. Here they have categorized differently. First is the same categorization, private limited company without default in AOC 4 and GT 7. This is the same provision which we have discussed earlier. There is no change in that. But in case of second category, which is public limited company, in one case, one more category is included, that is specified IFSC public companies. So they are the eligible companies and private limited companies which have not complied with the provisions of AOC 4 and MGT 7. Same provision was taken, but for specified IFSC public companies, 100% of the paid up capital security premium and free reserves were allowed to invite the deposit with the compliance of the 73(2). So these were the maximum amount of the deposit a company can have: private limited companies, public limited companies, private limited companies in compliance with the AOC 4 MGT 7, non-compliance with the AG 4 MGT 7. So this deposit can be invited from the public, from the members. Now there are certain compliances to be made. I have just summarized that. For the purpose of inviting the deposit, I have summarized in two categories. One is private limited companies which are covered under the exemptions and which are not covered under the exemption. So number one, resolution is required. In case of in both the cases, ordinary resolution is required, yes, not the special resolution. DPT1, that is the issue of circular. It is not required where exemption is granted, but it is required in other companies where exemption is not granted. Similarly, deposit trust deed is not required, or in case of other companies, it is required, and at least 7 days before the issue of the DPT1, this is required. Maintenance of liquid fund, which we discussed, for exempted companies not required. In case of other companies, 20% of the deposit maturing. Security is optional. If it is security, if it is a secured deposit, then security is to be deposited. And insurance deposit insurance is not required in both the cases. Receipt is to be issued and register is to be maintained in both the cases.
ये तो हमने चीज लिखा हुआ है स्टैट्यूट ऑर्डर 911 with effect from 26 September 2020 से थोड़ी यहाँ पे
You are not audible. You are not audible.
नहीं, we are the statutory order for this with effect. We have resigned from the post.
I am sorry, I am not able to.
Yes, we are the statutory order with effect from.
वसीम सर आपकी ऑडियो ठीक नहीं है.
I am not able to understand.
वसीम सर आपकी कनेक्टिविटी इशू है, ऑडियो ठीक नहीं है.
यहाँ से ये उड़ा दो, तुम यहाँ कर सकते हो ना, बिजली फैक्टर में उड़ा दो.
Sir, just one small clarification required.
टेम्परेचर वाला उड़ा दो.
जी.
Yes.
सर एक छोटा सा क्लैरिफिकेशन था, ये जो इसमें फ्री रिजर्व्स का रेफरेंस आ रहा है, तो फ्री रिजर्व्स तो बेसिकली वो होते हैं जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेबल टू द शेयर होल्डर्स हो रेडीली.
हाँ जी वही डेफिनेशन है.
तो अगर जैसे सपोज एक कंपनी का 1 करोड़ पेड अप कैपिटल है और उसके जो रिजर्व्स हैं वो नेगेटिव हैं, तो 40% ऑफ कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ लिमिट दोनों नेट ऑफ
पेड अप कैपिटल में से नेगेटिव माइनस नहीं होगा. पेड अप कैपिटल विल बी टेकन.
तो ये सेम 185 में भी सेम रूल लगता है सर?
नहीं
185 में भी जो कैलकुलेशन ऑफ दी रिजर्व्स हैं,
साइकिल चला लो,
आप माइनस नहीं कर सकते. आप ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. पेड अप कैपिटल इज 100 करोड़ एंड योर रिजर्व्स इज 10 करोड़ माइनस, तो योर एलिजिबिलिटी इज 90 करोड़. इट कैन नॉट बी.
तो मतलब बेसिकली जो
ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ पेड अप कैपिटल यू कैन गो अहेड.
ओके.
Should I go ahead or some clarification is required by Mr. Bhasin?
I think it's mutual. He can't hear us and we can't hear him.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Rate of interest not more than the rate exceeding the NBFC norms. This I will discuss when I will discuss the loan to the directors. It should not be less than the rates of these government securities. I will just discuss. And the penalty as penal interest if you are default in making the payment, 18%.
इसका गोल मोड़ लगाओ, गोल मोड़ लगाओ.
म्यूट कर दें इनको. हाँ जी.
Hello.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Is there any problem?
No, sir. उनको mute कर दिए.
Acha, what is now it's a very important aspect. What are the receipts received by the companies are not considered as a deposit. This is given under the rule 21C of the deposit rules. In this case, I will discuss each and every receipt which will not be considered as a deposit in the books of the companies. Number one is any amount, anything received other than money. If anything is received other than money, it will not be considered, obviously. Number second is if any loan is received from banks or financial institutions, then this receipt will not be considered as a deposit. Third is amount received from the central government or state government will not be considered as a deposit. Next is amount received from the foreign government or international bank. This will not be considered as a deposit. Next is important. A company received any amount as ICD, intercorporate deposit. It will not be considered as a deposit under section 73 or 76. Deposit from the directors and relative, which we normally have in every balance sheet. In case of a private limited company, there is an exemption. If private company has a deposit from the directors or their relatives, then they will be considered, they will not be considered as a deposit, provided a declaration is given that amount received is not out of the borrowed money. Means director should not borrow the money and deposit to the company. It should be his own money and it's earned money. It should not be borrowed money. Number two is such deposit should be disclosed in the financial board report of the directors. Here relatives are also defined because company can have the deposit from the relatives also. So relatives means a father including stepfather, mother including stepmother, son including stepson, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband, brother including stepbrother, sister including stepsisters, and members of the HUF. These all will be considered as a deposit, relatives. Next is amount received towards subscription of securities. We must have seen in so many balance sheets that the amount of share application is pending for certain period, long period. Now the provision says if the amount is not allotted, shares are not allotted within 60 days from the receipt of the money, application money, and it is not refunded within 15 days after the expiry of 16 days, then that will be considered as a deposit. It means company, if company has received any application money and it has not refunded the amount to the depositor, if shares are not allotted, that amount will be considered as a deposit. And here one thing important to see, that the provision says it should be adjusted by allotment of the shares. It should not be adjusted in any other way. You cannot adjust this amount received against the share application money, against any bill, any services provided, or whatever it is. It should be allotment of the shares only. Then only exemption is granted. Otherwise, it will be considered as a deposit. Then amount received in trust, provided company does not pay any interest on that money received. Amount received by issue of the compulsorily convertible debentures, but maximum conversion period should not be more than 10 years. Then if company has received the amount by issue of 100% secured debentures, it will not be considered as a deposit. Next is also important. We have seen so many cases that the company show the advance from the employees. That can be taken, but maximum limit is his annual salary. If he is drawing maximum salary 5 lakhs, company cannot take the amount from the employee more than 5 lakhs. The next item is normally very, very generally in all the balance sheets. Advance received in the course of and for the purpose of business. In the course of business or for the purpose of business, what kind of the advance can be? Number one, advance received for the supply of goods and services. If company has received any advance against the supply of goods or services, that will not be considered deposit, provided it is services are provided within 365 days from the receipt of the deposit. But there is one exception. 365 days will not be applicable if there is a pending litigation against that advance. If there is a dispute and company has challenged the deposit or some kind of the litigation that is pending before the arbitration or any court, then 365 days will not be applicable. Second category is advance received against immovable property under an agreement. That is very important. The immovable property, advance against property I have received, but if there is no agreement, then this exemption will not be applicable. So the advance against immovable property should be as per under any agreement or as per the agreement. As per the agreement means, suppose immovable property advance has been received and the final payment has to be made within 6 months, then this advance should not be exist in the books of account more than 6 months. So as per the agreement, whatever terms of the agreement, under that agreement, if amount is received, then it is exempted and will not be considered as a deposit. Third category is supply of the capital goods. If advance is received for the supply of the capital under long-term project, then 365 days will not be applicable. For example, suppose I have taken the advance from a company for the supply of a machinery which is used in long-term projects by the customer, then that 365 days will not be applicable. Then it can be more than 365 days, but it should be as per the agreed terms between the supplier and the customers. But in this case, 360 advances, whatever advances are received, if it is particularly in construction project, housing project, if advance has been received by the company from the customers, and if certain necessary permissions are not granted by the governments, then immediately it is to be refunded to the customers. If it is not refunded within 15 days from such order or sub-direction, then it will be taken as a deposit under section 73.
अरुण जी, एक क्लैरिफिकेशन मिलेगी?
हाँ बताइए.
ये जो एग्रीमेंट है, अगर इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, इट हैज टू बी रजिस्टर्ड.
See, agreement normally it's not a mandatory to be registered, but it's advisable to get it registered. But the act says ki under any agreement is not means mandatory to be registered, but it is advisable. If you want to advise to your client, get it registered, but at least it should be notarized.
Okay. Number two, ये जो advances which a company receives. Now let's say one of parties received advance because they are into chartering of aircraft.
Correct.
So their aircraft met with an accident, so it was the service could not be rendered, and they tried to mobilize another aircraft service provider who did not have the slots during those days when the aircraft was required. Now the 365 days have gone. Because it's a foreign remittance, the Reserve Bank of India is not permitting us to remit the money back to that company also in the US. So what is the status now?
Status is, if I am the advisor to that company, I will say it will cover under the exemption of that the litigation and pending before the court. It can be means because it's a specific circumstances under which and justifiable circumstances under which the services could not be provided to the customer.
There is no court litigation. मैंने तो certify कर दिया deposit है. मैंने तो certify कर दिया their deposits. Because they have not provided any document that where the refusal of the RBI is there, or where there was any other thing which was stopping them to refund the money, or that the other party could not give the supply.
In your case, particularly your case, if it is so, what management has given the clarification to you?
They have not provided any document.
Then, of course,
then if they have not provided any document, then you have to qualify.
I have to qualify.
Yes.
And they are very upset with it because this इसमें हमारा क्या कसूर है? हम तो फंसे हुए हैं. हम तो उनको ये भी कर रहे हैं, वो भी करने को तैयार हैं.
But then they can
नहीं, उन्होंने क्या करना चाहिए था? They should have given you all the correspondence between the customers and the airport authority and whatever it is. On the basis of that, justification can be carried, taken out. It's a specific case. See, that will go into the litigation only. See,
of course, we are going to dispute it and we will contest it when the penalty part comes, that it was unavoidable circumstances. But let's
so they should have provided you all the documents in support of their clarification. Then you should have examined and you should have acted accordingly. Since they have not provided any document to you, obviously it has to be qualified.
They did not give any clarification to you. Now they'll give it to the RBI.
No, Rajesh, the problem here is, just 1 minute, the problem here is that everything was on the telephone. They are trying to convince on the telephone.
You can't, without documentation, you can't.
No, I have no choice.
But sir, I am surprised if aircraft met an accident, then there should be a claim of the insurance also. There should be some correspondence with the airport authorities also. Some inquiry must have been conducted. Every document should have been done.
No. Basically, the accident was that last year, you remember, there was a huge storm and the aircraft turned turtle. So there are certain parts which were damaged and they were not available. So it was grounded.
It's a case-to-case basis because it's not written under the provision. We have to examine with the justification and facts of the case.
Arunji, I tried to help them in whatever possible way. I took at everything. मैंने कहा मुझे एक्सीडेंट का जो एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ने आपको सर्टिफिकेशन दिया वो दो. वो कहते उन्होंने इसीलिए नहीं दिया because of an act of God. वो तो हवा की वजह से पलट गया तो वो कहते हैं जी ठीक है.
Who suffered the loss? Who suffered the loss?
भाई फोटोग्राफ नहीं थी, वो इन्होंने इनका ही था because the insurance company refused to cover that. उस इनमें स्टॉर्म कवर नहीं था इनके केस में.
आपके क्लाइंट को dispute justify करना चाहिए था before.
वो तो करेंगे क्योंकि अगर
बैलेंस शीट you have signed ना.
नहीं देखिए, मैंने तो अभी उसका डिस्प्यूट किया, अभी तो बैलेंस शीट साइन होनी है.
अच्छा, तो फिर तो अगर डिस्प्यूट हो गया फिर तो
हाँ
फिर तो आप उसे एग्जेम्प्ट कर सकते हो अगर डिस्प्यूट प्रूफ हो जाता है.
वो अभी हो नहीं रहा डॉक्यूमेंट. दे हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू गिव एनी डॉक्यूमेंट. सब कुछ आज फोन पे हो जाता है आजकल. सॉरी सर, सॉरी फॉर डिस्टर्बिंग यू.
No, it's all right. So next exemption is which is not a deposit, is security deposit for performance of the contract of the supply of goods and services. If you have received any security deposit, it will not be covered under the deposit. Advance for future business. That is also if a company receives any advance for doing any business in future with the customer or the person, then it is also not covered under the deposit, but the maximum time limit is 5 years for such acceptance of the deposit. Advance allowed by secretarial regulator under directions of central government or state government, it will not be considered. Then advance for the publication, it should be adjusted against the publication only, should not be adjusted against any other purpose, then it will be not be considered as a deposit. Advance received issue of the commercial paper or any other instrument as per the guidelines issued by RBI, it will not be covered. Then advance received under collective investment scheme in compliance with SEBI regulations, this will not be considered as a deposit. Amount received by Nidhi companies will not be considered as a deposit. Then short-term advance, NCDs, non-convertible debentures issues with 12-month maturity only by private placement will get exempted. Next is also very generally in every balance sheet, promoters give the money to the company under the stipulation imposed by lending institution. Means if any sanction has been issued to the company and that sanction has a stipulation that promoter will infuse this much money and that money is given to the company, will not be considered as a deposit. Then convertible note issued by startup companies. Convertible note means any instrument which is convertible into the shares or repayable within 5 years in single tranche shall not be considered as a deposit. Then amount received by the companies of AIF, alternate investment fund, mutual fund, domestic capital venture, infrastructure investment trust, real estate investment trust, etc., will not be considered as a deposit. These rules which we have discussed so far will not be applicable on three kinds of the companies. One is banking companies, number two is NBFCs, number third is housing finance company. What is the contravention? For non-compliance of section 73, 76, 74, this on the companies, the payment of the deposit or interest thereon, or fine 1 crore or twice of the amount of the deposit, whichever is lower, and which may extend to rupees 10 crores. So penalties are very high. And for the officer in default, imprisonment which may extend to 7 years, fine 25 lakhs to rupees 2 crores or both. So these are the penalties for the non-compliance of the provision of the 73. And contravention of the rules, there are other penalties, but punishment is not provided in the act. Residual penalty will be applicable for non-compliance of the rules, which fine may extend to rupees 5,000, and if it is a continuing default, 500 rupees per day. One more penalty is there, that is damages for the fraud. If it is proved that deposit has been accepted with intent to defraud the depositors or for any fraudulent purpose, then in addition to all this penalty we discussed, the damages will also be applicable for the loss incurred by the depositors. Damages can be claimed by the depositors by filing an application before the tribunal. So this is all about the deposits. Now I come to the loans to the directors. The provisions of the Companies Act, section 185 deals with the loans on the provision of the directors.
Sir, एक question है, जो deposit मिलते हैं for business as advance, तो इस पे कोई limit भी है और any amount received is
section
considered?
या रूल जो हमने जो डिस्कस किया रूल, इसके अंदर कोई लिमिट नहीं है उस पर बिजनेस एडवांस पर. कंडीशंस हैं जो हमने डिस्कस करी हैं. एनी अमाउंट, बट यू हैव टू जस्टिफाई द डिपॉजिट ऑफ द अमाउंट ऑफ द डिपॉजिट. आई गिव वन एग्जांपल. कंपनी हैज नो बिजनेस और company has very limited business, and without any plan, without any project, a sum of rupees 50 crores has been received, or 5 crores has been received. Though amount is not, maximum amount is not given in that exemption rule, but you have to justify that this deposit is for the business purpose.
सर ऐसा भी होता है कि कुछ कंपनीज में टर्नओवर बहुत हाई होती है लेकिन कोई छोटे छोटे एडवांसेस पड़े रह जाते हैं. समटाइम्स वन डजंट एक्चुअली सी कि एडवांस पड़ा रह गया एंड देन इवेंचुअली
No, then 365 days you have to see.
ठीक है.
And you have to see one more thing. 360 within 365 this should be adjusted against the good supply of the goods or the services. It should not be adjusted in any other manner.
Okay.
So loan to the advance directors. See, there are a lot of amendment has been made. These are the list of the amendments. I am not going to read it, but last amendment came in 7th May 2018 by the Amendment Act 2017. I have covered in my presentation.
अरुण जी, अगर वो क्रेडिट बैलेंस राइट बैक कर लेते हैं, जैसे किसी का 5 करोड़ का बिजनेस किया, उसका 12-15 लाख रुपए रह गया ना, वो मांग रहा है 3 साल हो गया, हम उसको इनकम में ले जाते हैं क्रेडिट बैलेंस में, वो भी अलाउड नहीं है?
नहीं, इनकम में ले जाते हैं फिर तो वो लिटिगेशन में आ जाएगा ना.
नहीं, वो तो
अगर लिटिगेशन के थ्रू ले गए
हाँ,
फिर तो वो 365 कवर नहीं होगा.
उन्होंने तो इनकम में राइट बैक कर लिया क्योंकि ना पार्टी मांग रही है ना ये देने वाले हैं.
नहीं सर, इसमें तो माई position is very clear. It should be adjusted, otherwise that the amount which is not adjusted will be treated as a deposit.
It will still be treated. उन्होंने इनकम में ले लिया, हमने इनकम में उस पर टैक्स दे देंगे.
आप अपने आप कैसे ले सकते हैं जबकि उसकी कंसर्न नहीं होगी?
नहीं,
ये तो फिर तो ये रूल कोई एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं करेगा, हर कोई कर लेगा. फिर 1365 का कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं रहा ना. 365 डेज का
कल को मांगेंगे तो उनको दे देंगे.
नहीं, देखो एक चीज मैं बताऊं आपको कि whenever there is such a transaction, there is actual transaction, there is always an understanding in writing, and every company will comply with it before expiry of that term written in the agreement. The company will do the needful, or they will make the litigation.
नहीं, मेरे पास वो 31st मार्च में बैलेंस शीट में अपीयर नहीं हो रहा है, तो I don't have to look at it.
I think 365 days condition will not dilute it.
Okay, you think it's not diluted?
Yes.
Okay. But if it is not appearing in the books, 31st मार्च को अपीयर ही नहीं कर रहा, So that means I will have to
No,
thoroughly look into the books कि उन्होंने कैसे उसको adjust
no,
किया
you
है।
have to you have to see this is one more thing.
जी
It is not that the transaction which are not showing as on 31st March. It's a transaction based provisions. If I have received any amount and given in contravention of 73, you have to report. Company has taken the money without complying the provision of 73 or which are not covered under the exemption rule 21C, and they have adjusted before 31st March. It's not that your liability is
नहीं
finished.
उन्होंने तो 365 दिन भी इन्होंने तो 250-300 दिन में ही रेट बैक कर, उनको पता है पैसे देने नहीं है, उन्होंने 250-300 दिन में 4-6 महीने
तो
में
सर
एडजस्ट कर दिया।
फिर तो ये डिपॉजिट ट्रीट किया ही जाएगा क्योंकि ट्रांजैक्शन इट इज एडजस्टेड नॉट सप्लाइंग द गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज।
ओके नहीं पार्ट अमाउंट है, बाकी तो कर दिया उन्होंने।
अब कितना भी हुआ है, जैसे किसी ने 10 लाख लिया, 5 लाख की सप्लाई कर दी, 5 लाख लग गया, 5 लाख या तो उसे वापस करो 365 दिन से पहले,
ओके
या फिर उसको आप डिपॉजिट ट्रीट करोगे।
अभी इसमें ना एक थोड़ी सी बड़ी मैं डिटेल आपको बता नहीं सकता अभी, वो बड़ी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सिचुएशन है, एक्सचेंज फ्लक्चुएशन की वजह से पहले सारा।
आई थिंक नितिका वी डिस्कस द सेम
yeah before we started the webinar.
So we will discuss separately. I think it will take.
ठीक चलिए ठीक है, थैंक यू।
So friends, loan to the directors are the same story we used to see in the balance sheet of so many companies in which invariably entries were made in the name of the directors, their relatives, their firms in which they are interested, and entries were reversed also, and without following the procedure. And when new section 185 came along with the Companies Act 2013, lot of hue and cry was made. Then so many amendments made in this to ease out to the private limited companies and certain other companies, holding companies, wholly owned subsidiaries companies. So I will discuss that. What are the provision? Provision of the 185 is very, very clear, twofold. One is no company shall give directly or indirectly advance any loan. Number one, loan. Number two, give guarantee. Number three, providing security in connection of the loan taken by. Pause here. What is the loan? Including represented by book debt. Including represented by book debt means, suppose company has sold the material to the company in which directors are interested, and that money is pending to recover from that company beyond a certain credit period normally company give to its customers, then it will be treated as a advance to the company in which directors are interested. So
that means अगर arm's length पे होगा फिर नहीं,
arm's length पे होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा। जैसे suppose company gives a credit to customer 90 days, but company has sold the material to the company in which directors are interested, and it has not been recovered for more than 90 days, say about 180 days, even years together, it is not recovered. So that amount will be treated as a loan. Okay, it will be covered under section 185. So 185 covered, the company will not give a loan to a director or the firm in which directors are interested, or will not give a guarantee for providing security to the company, to the director or firms in which directors are interested, or will not give provide the security for such loans to a director of that company or director of its holding company, also covered, and partner or relative of such director. This is the person to whom restrictions are made under section 185. Directors of the lending company, directors of the holding company, any partners or relative of such directors, and loan to any firm in which such director or his relative is a partner. So this is the first provision. Second provision is the company may give advance of any loan, including book debts, or give guarantee of security in connection with loan any person in whom directors are interested, subject to the following conditions. Number one, if a special resolution is passed by the companies to that effect, and in explanatory statement for a special resolution, proper disclosure should be made, the particulars of such directors, loan, purpose of such loan or security provided, every detail should be given in the explanatory statement to the EOGM. Second condition is such loan should be utilized for principal business of the activity of that company. So if these two conditions are applicable, complied with, the company can give the loan or provide the securities or give the guarantee. Now the term any person in whom the directors are interested. This is defined here. For a private limited company, if such director is a director or a member. In body corporate, if not less than 25% of voting power is exercised by such director or two or more such directors. Third is very important, board of directors or MD or manager of that companies are accustomed to act on the direction of board of directors of lending company. Suppose I am the company, I have given loan to another company in which directors are interested. So the company whose on direction of the other board of directors is acting, that company will be considered as a directors in which a company in which directors are interested. This is inserted from 4th of January. In case of a specified international finance company, this is also any company, private company of which any such director is a director or member in which director of lending do not have the direct or indirect shareholding through themselves or through relative, and special resolution is passed. So this is also one exemption is given. So there are two things. One is loan can be given, cannot be given. Now there are the general exemptions to the section 185. One is the company can give the loan to its whole time directors or its MD if as per their service agreement. If service agreement provide any loan to be given to the director, whole-time directors or managing director, that loan will not be covered under section 185. Or if company has drafted or started a scheme and that scheme is passed by a special resolution by the shareholder, under such scheme, if loan is provided to the directors of the company or MD of the company or whole-time director of the company, that loan will not be covered under section 185. Second exemption is if the companies which are the NBFCs can give the loan and directors or MD or whole-time directors, provided that the interest rate should not be lesser than the rate of prevailing yield of 1, 3, 5, 10 years of government security. It means, suppose I have given a loan for 5 years, then I have to compare the rate of interest of the prevailing yield of government security of 5 years. Suppose I have given a loan for the 7 years, then I have to compare the rate of prevailing yield of 10 years. If I have given loan for 3 years, then I have to compare the yield of the 3 years. So if NBFC companies gives the loan to its directors and the rate of interest is comparable and not less than the prevailing yield, then it is exempted from the section 185. Number 3, the wholly owned subsidiary. If holding company gives loan, provides securities, give guarantee to wholly owned subsidiary company, it will not be considered as a deposit, loan to the directors, and 185 will not be applicable. Number 4th, it is covered in that this is applicable for the only subsidiary company. The previous one was wholly owned subsidiary company. If the holding company has given the loan or provides the security to subsidiary company, for this wholly owned subsidiary, all 3 things are allowed. Number 1, loan. Number 2, provide securities and guarantees. But if it is the subsidiary company, not wholly owned subsidiary, then only guarantee and securities are allowed, exempted. Loan is not exempted. Second condition is in all 3 that the loan given to such subsidiary company should be utilized for the principal business of the debt company.
So if it is
utilized.
So 1 second.
Yes, sir.
So if it is a loan to subsidiary of the subsidiary, then the position will be applicable.
Subsidiary
of
of the subsidiary.
subsidiary.
Second subsidiary.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Subsidiary is because it's a subsidiary of the subsidiary.
Right.
Subsidiary of the, it will be applicable. But
Right.
wholly owned subsidiary is different.
Wholly owned subsidiary and wholly owned subsidiary.
Yes,
Second level.
It will be applicable.
Yeah.
It will be applicable.
Right.
This is the 3 conditions we were talking about, the deposits also, or here also 185 will not be applicable if all 3 conditions will are satisfied. Means if it is a private limited company, private limited company does not have a shareholder as a body corporate in its capital. Number 2, borrowing from the banks and financial institutions should not be more than twice of the paid up capital or 50 crores, whichever is lower. And at the time of giving loan, the default should not be persist. This is the 3 conditions, all 3 conditions should be applicable, which are normally after 50 crores of the companies, mostly companies, private companies are covered in this exemption. This has come from the 5th of June 2015. Two kind of the companies also covered under this notification. One is Nidhi companies, loan to director or his relative, their capacity as a member. If they are the member of Nidhi companies, they can give, and the transaction should be disclosed properly in financial statement by giving the notes. Similarly, a government company with the approval of the central government or state government or concerned ministry, they can give the loan to the directors without complying the 185, section 185. These are the penalty if we contravene the provisions of 185 for company not less than 5 lakhs, which can go up to 25 lakhs. Officers in default, imprisonment for 6 months or fine rupees 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs. Here one thing, penalty is on company, but officer in default, and penalty on the person, director to whom loan has been given. That is also provided there. Imprisonment up to 6 months or fine rupees 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs or both. These are the penalties.
डबल मार पड़ेगी,
डबल मार, ट्रिपल मार है एक तरीके से. ऑफिसर इन डिफॉल्ट में भी वो आ जाएगा.
हाँ. और अगर दोनों कंपनियों का ऑफिसर इन डिफॉल्ट है, फिर तो बिल्कुल ही मर गया.
So that is why we are saying follow the rules, follow the law.
ये वैसे अब जीरो टॉलरेंस जो होती जा रही है ना, इससे हमारा काम भी आसान हो गया.
सर इससे फर्क तो पड़ा है. मैं अभी पीछे बात कर रहा था नितिका जी से बिफोर स्टार्ट ऑफ द वेबिनार कि पीपल आर वेरी विजिलेंट नाउ because of the higher penalties or very strict rules. So
और
this
हम
is
लोगों
all
के
about
भी
the loan.
और
tell
हम
me.
लोगों के एथिक्स भी इतने स्ट्रॉन्ग कर दिए इन्होंने कि हम लोगों को भी ध्यान रखना पड़ रहा है.
पढ़ना पड़ेगा, बिल्कुल पढ़ना,
पहले तो हम
ध्यान रखना
सोचते थे
पड़ेगा.
यार चलो यारी दोस्ती में जो मर्जी कर लो, बट नॉट एनी.
नहीं यारी दोस्ती चलती नहीं ना. So this is all about the loan to the director, section 185. Now I will take the section 186, investment and advances.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Hello.
audible.
Yes.
Okay, I have put a question about loan or guarantee given by subsidiary company to the holding company. What is the provision?
Subsidiary company?
If
Loan to?
subsidiary company stands a guarantee for loan availed by holding company, so what will be the applicability?
See, the provision says loan from or guarantee provided or security provided by holding company to subsidiary company. Vice versa is not given in the law.
But if this thing has happened, the auditor should qualify the report?
Yes, correct, correct. It is non-compliance of 185. Because it is not
The
covered.
auditor of subsidiary
It is
company
not
should
the- if
qualify
it is-
the report, or the auditor of holding company should also qualify the report that this has been availed?
According to me, both the auditors.
Both the auditors should qualify the report.
Correct.
This is a position after the notification or even before the notification of 2018?
No, this is the after notice. 2000?
There was a notification. I feel this section was notified somewhere in May 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Which section?
185, this amendment.
Amendment has come into the June.
June 2018.
Yes, not 18,
15.
17.
It
15,
was,
sorry, 15. Just
to
a minute,
my
I will just
knowledge,
tell
if
you
I'm
the
not
exact date.
mistaken, it was Amendment Act 2017 when this amendment was
Yes.
done.
Yes, 7th May 2018.
Yeah. It was May 18. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So 186 deals with the investment company, how much company can make the investment, in which company they can make the investment. Subsection 1 deals with the investment in the subsidiary companies, and subsection 2 deals with the how much quantum the company can make the investment, quantum of the amount. So first section says without prejudice to the act, unless otherwise provided, company cannot make the investment through more than 2 layers of the investment company. This is the law. But there are 2 exceptions. One is if any company has acquired any foreign company incorporated outside India, then that if in that country law provides the investment in more than 2 layers of the companies, then this exemption will be granted to that company. Number 2, if investment company by subsidiary company in investment of for the purpose of meeting any requirement and the law in force, means suppose I have already invested in 2 layers of the subsidiaries, but I am proposing a new project, and according to law, new project has to be started in new company. So then that investment will also be exempted beyond the 2 layers of the investment company. So only 2 exemptions are there. Otherwise, company cannot invest in the 2 layers of the investment company. That is important section subsection 2. It gives threshold limit for 3 things. One is to give loan, to give guarantee or provide securities, or to acquire or purchase of securities of any other body corporate. So this threshold limit is 60% of its capital, free reserves and premium. or 100% of free reserves plus premium, whichever is higher. Means if I take the example, the capital is 100 crores, reserves are 50 crores, security premium is 50 crores, then total is 200 crores. So total 60% of the total comes 120 crores. And if we see the 100% of free reserves and premium, it comes 100 crores. So 100 crores or 120 crores, whichever is higher. So company can make the investment up to rupees 120 crores. This is the threshold limit. But provision says if company wants to invest more than this threshold limit, then a special resolution is required. This has also come with the effect from 2017 Amendment Act. So threshold limit is given, but if SR is passed, then any amount approved by the shareholder by the special resolution. But however, special resolution is not required if loan guarantee provided given to wholly owned subsidiary company, joint venture company, or for the acquisition by holding company, or this fact has been disclosed in financial statement. So this special resolution provision is not applicable in these circumstances. This was the threshold limit. Now there are certain conditions which company has to see before making investment. One is, without passing the board resolution, company cannot make the investment. But board resolution also, it's very important to see in this provision, the resolution should be passed by all the directors present in the meeting, means unanimously. There should not be any negative vote on the on the resolution for the investment. Number two condition is, if there is some loan from the financial institution subsist at the time of making investment, then the NOC or consent from the financial institution is required before making investment. But this consent will not be required if my total investment does not exceed the threshold limit of 60% and 100%, or there is no default in the repayment of such loan exists at the time of making investment. It means I can make, suppose I have taken the term loan which is not, which is regular in payment, I can make the investment without passing the board resolution, but within the threshold limit provided under section 1.
मगर अरुण जी ये borrowed funds आगे invest नहीं हो जाएंगे? Because you are already holding loan, term loan, and you are investing into your.
Sir, that is why there is a threshold limit. Within threshold limit, you have to invest.
Okay. borrowed capital आगे invest करने का उसका कोई default
नहीं. इसीलिए तो ये जो ऊपर जो threshold limit दिया है, capital plus free reserve जी और 60% of that is why. Okay. Because in borrowing also there is a debt equity ratio also are maintained.
Of course.
Third condition is, if company is registered under section 12 of SEBI Act, then company will not accept make the investment or in ICDs more than threshold limit. For whatever we discussed, the threshold limit, who can be invest more than threshold limit by passing the special resolution. But in case of company registered under 12 of the SEBI Act, then it will not be allowed to go beyond the threshold limit, right? And again, all the investment the rate of interest should not be lower than the prevailing yield of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years of the government securities. That is important. Means you cannot make the investment on a interest-free or lower rate of interest. This is covered under this. But this section and this provision is diluted for the Section 8 companies. If 26% or more paid up capital is held by central government or state government in respect of loan provided for industrial research and development project. So this is just an exemption for the rate of interest.
अगर अरुण जी इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कंपलसरी है? If I make an investment for the purpose of benefit or holding it.
नहीं, ये एडवांस को भी रिलेट करता है ना ये रूल्स.
अच्छा.
ये एडवांस को भी रिलेट करता है. Company cannot give loan or make an investment if company is in default in repaying the deposit, and such deposit repayment default is suppressed at the time of the investment. And next is very procedural, that they shall maintain the register and it will be open for the inspection for the members of the company. This exemption came in 2017. In case of a specified IFC, public and private companies, Section 61861 is not applicable, and threshold limit shall not be applicable if resolution is passed in meeting of board of directors. You must have seen, I have discussed that the resolution should be passed by unanimously in the board meeting, but in case of this company, this kind of the company, the resolution can be passed by the circulation also. There are exemption to the subsection 1, that is the threshold limit. What are the exemptions? Loan provided by banking company, insurance company, housing finance company, and company engaged in business of industrial enterprises providing industrial infrastructure facilities. For these threshold limit is not applicable, and these are the exemption. Number 1. Number 2 is if advance to any investment made by investment company. If I am an investment company, then 186 applicable will not be applicable to me. What are the investment companies? Investment companies means whose principal business in acquisition of the shares, debentures, and other securities. Number 2, if assets in the form of the investment constitute not less than 50% of the total assets.
और जी स्लाइड आगे कर लो, स्लाइड आगे कर लो.
नहीं ठीक है.
नहीं ये पुरानी वाली आ रही है, इस पे तो कंपनी शैल मेंटेन रजिस्टर.
ओहो मेरे पास तो हुआ अभी. ये नहीं आई है आपके पास?
नहीं मेरे पास सही आ रही है. राजेश जी आपके पास आ रही है? वही आ रही, पुरानी आ रही, कंपनी शैल मेंटेन रजिस्टर.
ये
अभी भी नहीं आई, वही चल रही है. फ्रीज तो नहीं हो गई? चलिए कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं.
मैं आपको ये तो भेज दूंगा.
ठीक है ठीक है
ठीक है. So investment company means if principal business is acquisition of the shares, debentures, or other securities. If assets in the form of the investment constitute not less than 50% of the total assets, and income derived from the investment business constitute not less than 50% of gross income, then it will be treated as a investment company. So if investment company make the investment, then these are the exempted from the application of the 186 section. Number 2 is if company make a investment by subscribing right shares, then it is also exempted. Right shares means suppose my threshold limit 60% exceeds or 100% exceeds, but my investment, I have made the investment in any other company. That company gives me offer for the subscription of the right shares. Then if I subscribe that right shares, that will not covered under section 186. Number third is, if investment is made by a NBFC company whose principal business is for acquisition of securities. So these three investment will also not covered by covered under section 186. Next exemption is government company. If government company engaged in any defense production product, then this 186 is not applicable. And second is government companies other than listed companies which obtains prior approval from central government, state government, or from the concerned ministry, then 186 is not applicable. Penalties, for that penalties, company is liable for 25,000, which may exceed to 5 lakhs, and officer in default, imprisonment up to 2 years, and fine not less than 25,000 to rupees 1 lakh. This is all about these provisions. So if you have the questions on from the viewers, I can reply.
पीछे जो उन्होंने dilute किए हैं ये prosecution की provisions
वो इसमें applicable नहीं है सर.
इसमें applicable नहीं है.
नहीं, 185 में नहीं है, 186 में नहीं है, 73 में नहीं है.
वही शाबाश. मैंने जो असली section है उनमें नहीं किया.
No, there are so many other sections. Okay. There is a lot of provisions are there in which dilution is there.
Okay. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, whether any unpaid balance of Sunday creditor, it will be treated as deposit?
Unpaid
balance of Sunday creditor lying for
from customer new advance to customer.
No.
Not been received.
No,
sir, I have
different.
Sunday creditor is different.
Both advances is totally different.
Sir, both advances received from parties and liabilities.
Sir, the advance is receipt of the advance against the supply
unpaid
of
balance which is lying for more than 365 days in respect of credit. Yes, it will not be treated as a deposit.
That is what I am saying, sir.
So it has not been received.
Later is you have received the goods and amount is payable.
Okay,
that is not the advance.
Okay, sir. Second question is it relates to whole-time director. Sir, you have said that there is some exception relating to loans to MDs and whole-time director. A person can be a MD in more than one company subject to certain conditions. So my question is, the act is very much silent regarding the whole-time directors. Whether a person can be a whole-time director in more than one company. Particularly, if we can conduct a meeting through a webinar, why a person cannot be whole-time director and he can spend forenoon session in one company and afternoon session in the another company? Is there any
See, first of all, I will reply with respect to section 185. 185 says the exemption to the loan to the whole-time director or a managing director.
Yes, sir.
If that loan is covered as a service agreement with them.
Okay.
Otherwise not.
Okay.
Or loan has been given to them under any scheme approved by shareholder by special resolution. That is the only exemption.
Okay.
Otherwise not.
Okay.
इसके अलावा सर एक क्वेश्चन और है, if the advance against goods is returned within 365 days, will this still be considered as a deposit?
No.
advance from foreign company but not supplied due to some dispute. For refund of money, RBI approval taken, but again due to financial constraints, the same has not been refunded. Whether this will be treated as deposit or exempted.
If we have discussed in beginning this in detail, if such dispute is pending before any court or arbitration or reconciliation or any forum, then it will not be considered as a deposit.
And if there's just a verbal or a dispute on a mail, and then based on which they have taken the RBI approval, then there's no formal dispute in the court.
As per the provisions,
there has to be a dispute in the court.
Yes, but one thing I will say, if all the situation and circumstances are not covered under the Act, so if it can be justified with the document that there is really the circumstances in which payment is not made, but scarcity of the fund not to refund the money is not a reason.
Yeah.
वो तो वैसे भी डिफॉल्ट हो गया ना फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन की वजह से तो.
Can you ask one question, please?
Yes, sir, please.
In case of infrastructure,
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes,
sir, पहले Vinod sir is asking. Let him ask his.
Okay. Okay. मुझे आप hint कर देना. When can I ask?
Yes.
In case of infrastructure company, which is presently not doing any such activities, so will it be exempted? Presently, it's not doing any such activity. Will it be exempted?
Exempted of what? Investment or
under section under section 186.
186.
Yes, sir.
Infrastructure company not doing any business.
Yeah.
Not doing any business. So
presently, it's not doing. Earlier, it was doing such business. So will it be exempted?
No.
Or it will be treated as default?
It will be treated as default if they make the default.
Okay. And secondly, sir, one more question. So in case special resolution, which is required to be passed under section 185, it's not filed by the company with ROC. So will it be treated as a default?
No, because a special resolution has been passed and you can verify from the minute books of the company. If it has been passed, it is complied with. Non-filing of the resolution does not give non-compliance of the passing the resolution.
So it's basically up to the company.
It will be the company. Company will face the consequences for non-filing of the resolution.
Right. And one more thing. In case convertible debentures are not converted on the due date, will it be treated as default and deposit under section 73?
Yes.
Already covered.
See, first of all, it should be converted within not more than 10 years. 10 years. Converted within 10 years.
Sir, if agreement stipulates that it has to be within a period of 1 year, shares have to be converted into equity. And it is not done.
Correct.
Even at the close of the year. Will it be
treated as deposit? It's a default. Default, yes. And then there is a provision. There is a provision if you are not able to make the payment, you can go to the company law, the NCLT for extension of time on a reasonable ground. They can permit you.
Only NCLT can allow.
Yes, yes. No other.
NCLT से default से पहले लेने हैं approval?
अब default के बाद लेंगे.
Default के बाद?
बाद भी ले सकते हैं.
Madam, do I raise my question now?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, Arunji, we are doing a audit. In that case, one of the related party is a listed company. That listed company has a subsidiary. First of all, whether that subsidiary of the listed company, will it be also my related party?
My related party is a listed company. listed
Yes.
company has the subsidiary.
Yes.
So this subsidiary will, we have to see the percentage of the subsidiary. Then we have to see whether it will be my subsidiary also or not.
No, it is not my subsidiary at all because that is only my listed companies.
Then with respect to, you are talking about 185, compliance of the section 185.
Yes.
Yeah, it will
Yes.
not be covered under the exemption.
Okay, because my client, he has not shown in the list of related party that subsidiary company, but one transaction has happened with the subsidiary of my related party, that listed company, by the bank directly, for which they took my permission subsequently. One loan was given by the bank to the subsidiary of the listed company.
Correct.
Which money was adjusted against my bank balance, and my consent was taken subsequent to adjustment. Or you can say simultaneously.
Sir, this is not covered under the exemption of 185.
Now, what disclosure as an auditor we should write in this?
Fact you should write. This has been done, which is not covered in contravention of the 185.
No, but if it is, I am showing that amount in my balance sheet, and if it is not a related party, why should I show under my related party transaction?
No, you have to see that here, for seeing the 185, we have to see the any person in which directors are interested. Any person definition I have shown for the private limited company, for body corporate, I have given the such companies can be considered. In this subsidiary company of a listed company will cover in that. So this is a non-compliance of section 185 subsection 2.
We should report that. We should write the fact and report this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
अरुण जी, ये ऑब्जर्वेशन मानी जाएगी कि क्वालिफिकेशन मानी जाएगी?
नहीं, ये ऑब्जर्वेशन मानी जाएगी.
ऑब्जर्वेशन.
यस.
बच गए आप.
नहीं, अभी तो रिपोर्ट देनी है. लेकिन अरुण जी, sir, nowadays the burden upon auditor is too much. It appears that the burden on auditor is increasing every day.
Every moment.
Every moment the burden on auditor is increasing, and you see that for a mid-sized company, mid-sized CA firm, where some of the work is to be done by the articles and others, there are good enough chances of certain things going unnoticed. So where I feel that this matter needs to be taken very carefully by the authorities also, that CAs are also human beings. They are being projected like superhuman beings, that they cannot miss anything.
I agree with you, but fortunately this year new CARO is not applicable.
Yeah, that
new
is
CARO
next
is
year.
applicable for next year. Have you seen the new CARO?
Partly I just started, but since it was postponed, so I stopped studying that. The reason being that
provisions related to this stocks, loans and advances. Loans and advances. Just see what kind of the.
That also in willful defaulter. How will an auditor go and verify that the person is actually a willful defaulter, and from where is he going to get this data?
RBI
की willful defaulter की list होती है, पर जो इसके अंदर है, इसके अंदर they are not covering कि willful defaulter आप सिर्फ बैंक के हो. This is covering willful defaulter from private loans also.
Even credit cards.
Yeah.
Even credit cards. भाटी साहब, मैं आपको ये बताऊं, कुछ भी हो जाए तो कोर्ट सबसे पहले पूछती है what were the auditors doing? What were the auditors doing?
Not only courts.
Enforcement Directorate, CBI, जिसको जो बस चलता है वो auditors के पीछे पड़ जाता है.
The first one. VDR.
My balance sheet is showing this figure.
पहले हम सोचते थे क्लाइंट के बारे में, अब तो I, me and myself. बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट करते जा रहे हैं. Certification has become very tough now.
Very tough.
unnecessarily CAs are being made scapegoats. It is not like this that CAs are involved. And there should be a clear instruction that until they are directly involved, they should not be made scapegoats.
सर वो ये कहते हैं कि आपको रखा किस लिए है, यही कर इसी काम के
नहीं
लिए तो
रखा
रखा
किस लिए?
है।
क्या आप ह्यूमन बीइंग्स हैं? अगर आप कहते हैं कि एडवोकेट्स के अगेंस्ट FIR नहीं होगी, डॉक्टर्स के अगेंस्ट नहीं होगी, और CA के अगेंस्ट पहले होगी, प्रमोटर्स के अगेंस्ट बाद में होगी।
वो इसलिए कि CAs are covered by an act.
No, because CAs are giving certification, advocates are not giving certification. I am advocate also.
No, advocates are also giving certification. In the certification case where they are giving the reports, there will not be any criminal action against advocates. This is Supreme Court judgment.
Yes, recently.
Yes.
One more question.
Responsibilities are going to
sir, I am holding the meeting too much. Other listeners.
Sir, in case under section 185 or 186, interest-free loans have been given. So will it be treated as a default?
Correct. Sir, this is one of the condition.
So we, as an auditor, we have to comment on it.
You have to report it.
We have to qualify.
Yeah.
Qualify or observation?
Observation only. Giving
Only
no-
observation.
Yes.
No, it will come under.
Emphasis.
It will be reported under key audit matters.
No.
No.
All other matters we report.
All others where you are reporting other matters, you can report there.
और ये देखना
And another one-
फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड ना इन्वॉल्व हो जाए, वो फिर क्वालिफिकेशन में चला जाएगा।
So we have to see the nature of the
डिफॉल्ट
default, nature of the transaction.
सर बहुत मजा आया रुन जी।
Sir, one more question, can I put it?
Yes, why not?
In case share application money is received before the commencement of 2013 Act, there was a notification that by 1st July 2015,
Yes.
it has to be either refunded or allotted. But company has not done it.
सर इसमें जो मैंने आपको एक प्रोविजन बताया था फ्रॉड वाला,
हाँ जी,
डैमेजेस, उसमें शेयर होल्डर जो है वो डैमेजेस भी क्लेम कर सकता है, उसमें वो कवर है 74 का नॉन कंप्लायंस।
So as auditor, both the company investee as well as investor, auditor has to report.
Yes,
Or
both
only
auditors.
both the auditors have to report.
Yeah, correct.
That will come
क्योंकि
under
उसकी
key audit
एप्लीकेशन
matters.
क्योंकि उसकी एप्लीकेशन मनी इन्वेस्टमेंट में होगी,
Mhm.
इनकी एप्लीकेशन मनी में पड़ी होगी पैसा।
The audit matters is just that what you have checked and how you have closed that matter. It's not a
Correct.
qualification or an observation.
It will come under other matters.
No, all the qualification observation will go into opinion para. अब आपके ऊपर है वो other matters में लेते हो, emphasis में लेते हो या qualification. If there is a financial effect,
Materiality concept you have to see.
So materiality amount will determine that.
No, you have to
How much
see
of-
कि what kind of the business company is doing, what is the amount of the amount involved in the non-compliance.
Suppose
One
presently
more thing
company
I
is not
want
doing.
to, any business.
Suppose presently company is not doing any activity. It has closed the activities.
But
Then-
this non-compliance related to pre-2013, na?
हाँ जी, pre-2013.
Related to pre-2013.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But it's carrying on.
Yes.
So
It's carrying
till the
on.
time it is not refunded, you have to report it. Whosoever is the auditor.
And in case of foreign investment, RBI permission has not been received so far by the company.
This is
So-
more non-compliance. See, what conditions I have told you, this is as per company law. Otherwise, FEMA and other RBI compliances has to be made.
अभी इससे पहले मैं फेमा का ही एक वेबिनार अटेंड कर रहा था, वो कह रहे हैं जो पहले फेरा था फेमा उससे ज्यादा टफ है.
That is correct.
फेमा ज्यादा टफ, हालांकि मैनेजमेंट है, वो रेगुलेशन था. फेमा इज ओनली
One thing
मैनेजमेंट
I
है.
want to make it clear, in case of a deposit, if deposit is given on 1st April, it is adjusted before 31st March, and it is in contravention of section 185, you have to report it.
Even then it has to be reported.
Yes, because you are auditing entry wise, not the outstanding.
देखो जी, बैलेंस शीट साइन तो आप कर रहे हो ना, काम जिसने मर्जी किया हो. The responsibility lies with the person who signs the balance sheet.
Yes.
Sir, one more small question, if you permit.
Permit, convener.
I'm asking to convener madam also.
Sir, permitted.
I feel it will be a good knowledge for everybody also.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Arunji, balance sheet is a part of the audit report. And if certain disclosure is made in the balance sheet, will it not be considered that the audit report contains the same?
No, sir. See, audit report, there are certain provision and clauses provided that the audit report should provide that. The balance sheet, if you mean the balance sheet, whatever non-compliance in balance sheet should come into the audit report? Or
no, sir, my question is that if a disclosure, a proper disclosure is made in the balance sheet and it is not mentioned in the audit report separately or emphatically.
That's a matter of opinion.
That is there, but that disclosure is in the balance sheet. So will it? Do I need to cover that again in my audit report?
Disclosed. No, it is mandatory to report in your audit report the whatever is given in the mandatory reporting pattern.
Yes, it is not a mandatory reporting. It is a disclosure part.
Then disclosure in the balance sheet is enough.
That is enough, na?
Yes. If it is not required specifically for the auditor to report on that point. Suppose fraud. You have to report in the fraud, whether it has
if
you come across
okay, if there is some omission in the Caro reporting, but that thing is mentioned in the balance sheet part.
No, sir, no.
It has to be reported.
Here the auditor is liable.
Yes, sir. You have answered your query yourself.
Sir, actually,
I wanted a second opinion, sir.
अगर आप कहते हो तो बच सकते हैं तो बच जाते हैं ना रिपोर्ट करते हैं.
ऐसे अरुण जी, मैं जितने वेबिनार अटेंड करता हूँ ना, उसके बाद दिल की धड़कन और तेज हो जाती है.
अरुण सर के वेबिनार को अटेंड करके यही लगता है कि कंपनीज एक्ट को दोबारा पढ़ लें या फिर बैलेंस शीट साइन करना छोड़ दें.
और एक साल में 8 तो नोटिफिकेशन निकाल देती है गवर्नमेंट.
दोबारा नहीं, 10 बार पढ़ के भी इट इज नॉट एनफ.
इतनी सर्कुलर, इतने नोटिफिकेशन, ये वो आदमी का दिमाग ही खराब हो जाता है.
सर, अभी जो अमेंडमेंट आया है, आई एम रीडिंग द अमेंडमेंट एक्ट फॉर दिस dilution of the criminal penalties, etc. I am not able to complete in last 3 days.
The problem with chartered accountant is that he is not dealing only company law matters. He is dealing GST also. He is doing income tax also. He is doing FEMA also.
Sir, that is why I am
doing it.
CGST, there are more than 20 notifications under CGST.
So that is why I have preferred to concentrate on company law.
On company law.
Now it is must now. Now nobody can do all the 3-4 things.
Sir, GST itself is a very big and wide subject.
We left GST, fortunately, from the day one. After the first month itself, we left GST. We were not doing. But again, there are matters you have to have knowledge because you have to report in your audit report.
Correct.
ऐसा भी उन्होंने सिंप्लीफाई किया था. जीएसटी की सिंप्लीफाइड एक्ट है. उससे ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एक्ट तो मैंने देखा ही नहीं है. 18 अक्टूबर को नोटिफिकेशन निकालते हैं, 7 नवंबर को उसको रिवर्स कर देते हैं, 1 जनवरी को उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन दे देते हैं. पता नहीं क्या कर रहे हैं ये. 7,500 अमेंडमेंट्स आ चुकी हैं जुलाई 2017 से लेके अभी तक. 7,490.
and exclude that the time their sites are not working.
They are not. वो तो last day में कर सकते.
No, actually, you see, here comes the role of the professional bodies to represent and to take up the matter with the government, because individuals cannot take up this matter. But unfortunately, our professional bodies, though they are representing, but the results are not coming.
Anji Bhattji, good evening.
Thank you, Arun sir. It was a wonderful session, and you have always been there whenever we've asked you to deliberate. Thank you so much.
Always welcome.
Thank you, ji. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody,
Thank you.
a wonderful session.